Jai Gurdev children. In this video, we are going to discuss about nested if and switch statement. So, what is a nested if statement? If statement, that is, if statement within an if statement is called a nested if statement. If statement within an if statement is called a nested if statement. So, nested structure that controls, that controls enter when the control enters into the inner if only. When the outer if condition is true, only one block of statements are executed and the remaining blocks are skipped automatically. The user can use as many if statements inside another if statement as required. The increase in the level of nesting increases the level of complexity of nested if. Now this is syntax. When seeing the syntax, you could see something called inner if and outer if. What is outer if here? See, you have an if outside. First, the condition in the outer if will be checked. If that condition is true, then the control goes to the inner if. If the condition in the inner if is true, then the statements following inner if will be executed. If the condition of the inner if is false, then the statements following else of the inner if will be executed. What if the case if the condition of the outer if is itself false? In that case, the else, that's the statements at the last, that's outer ifs else will be executed. Okay, so this is the syntax of nested if structure. Now we are going to discuss the flowchart of nested if. See the flowchart. The control actually starts from executing, evaluating the condition of the outer if. If that is true, inner if is checked out. If that is true, inner if statements is executed. If the condition of the inner if is false, then the statements following else of the inner if is executed. But if the condition of the outer if is itself false, then the statement of else, that is outer if else, will be executed. Outer if else will be executed. Okay. I suppose you are clear with the flowchart. Now we shall discuss a program. So in this program, we are going to discuss. Wait, let me check whether it's getting recorded. Yeah, it's getting recorded. Now, we are going to discuss, this program is to get three numbers from the user and find out the smallest among the three numbers using nested if. Nested if, you can have n number of ifs. So you're getting three numbers from the user. For that, you should declare three numbers. So you're declaring A, B, and C. So you're asking the user to enter A, B, and C. User is entering A, B, and C. And you can use n number of ifs. So if the outer if here is A less than B. When A is lesser than B, that is, if the condition of the outer if is true, the control goes to the inner if. So A is less than B. Now you need to check, you're comparing three numbers, right? So you need to check whether A is less than C also. When A is less than B, the condition is true, the control comes in and you're checking whether A is less than C with the inner if. And if that is true, of course, A is less than B and A is less than C. So A will be the smallest number. That will be printed in the output screen. But when A is not less than C, then of course what? C is going to be the smallest number. So that will be printed. But what if the case if the outer if is itself false? That is, A is less than B, that condition is false. Then you need to go for checking B with C. B with C. Because A is less than B is false, which means A is not smaller. A less than B is false. So you're going to check now that B is less than C or not. So if B is less than C, that condition is true, then B will be printed as the smallest number, else C will be printed as the smallest number. Now, this is what happens when you compile the program. When you run the program, the first number is 5, second number is 3, and third number is 9. Of course, the smallest number is what? 3. Okay, this is how nested if work. Now we are going to discuss switch statement. See, switch statement is a good alternative of nested if else. So it can be used if there are many choices available and only one should be executed. So in this case, nested if becomes very difficult. So we can use switch structure. This is the syntax for switch. For you could start, the switch statement syntax here starts with this way, like it always starts with the keyword switch, followed by the expression in the round bracket, and you have the starting, you have the curly brackets to mark the start and end of switch. Then you have n number of cases between the curly brackets. See, case is a keyword here, and break is a keyword, and default is a keyword. And every case is having a statement and a break. Every case is having a statement and a break. If the user goes for choice 1, that's case 1, the statements following 1 will be executed. If he goes for 2, then statements following 2 will be executed. Similarly, if the user goes for n, then statements following n will be executed. Case n will be executed. Then, when the user goes for some number other than 1 to n, then the statements following, if that is, if none of the cases are true, none of the condition is true, then the statements following default will be executed. Default, I told you, default is a keyword. So the statements following default will be executed when the above condition fails. All the above conditions, multiple choices, all the above condition fails. The statements following default will be executed. And why there is a keyword break here? We have already discussed about break in the previous video tutorial. So what is the need of using break here? You know, break is to take the control out of the loop. Suppose you don't have break statement here, and if the user goes for choice 1, user wants only the user is going for checking only the condition 1. So he wants only those statements to get printed. But if you don't have break, all the other statements will also be printed. The statements following 2, statements following n will also be printed. But that is not needed actually. And that is also taking more number of time. But when you have a break here, what will happen? The control will directly come out of the loop. User presses 1, statements following 1 will be executed, and with the break, the control is coming out, right? That is why break is used. Okay, that is why break is used. Now we are going to discuss about the flow chart. With this flow chart, first condition 1, statement following 1 will be executed. If false, the control is actually coming out with the break. See the figure, see the picture, the control is actually coming out with the break. Condition 2 checked out, true, statement block 2, break, the control is coming out. Condition n, statement block n, break, the control is coming out. So when 1 is false, condition 2 is checked. When condition 2 is false, like it's not false. If the user goes for 1, statement 1. If the user goes for 2, statement 2. With the break statement, the control is actually coming out. If none of the condition, if the user is going for some number other than 1 to 3 or 1 to n, then the statements following else, default, that is statement block n plus 1 will be executed. Statement block n plus 1 will be executed, and we have a program to discuss. So this program will clearly tell you how does the switch work. So you are going to input a number of weeks, that is day, and display the name of the day. Example, if the user enter 1, it displays Friday, which means the week is starting from Friday. Okay. Now you need to declare the variables. The variables are declared as n is the input variable, integer data type, and you're asking the user to enter the number, that's n, and you have the switch keyword followed by the case. You know, every case is a keyword. You need to make the case this way. Type the case and give a space in between the case and the number, and you should always end that with a colon. See, it's not a terminator, it's a colon. It's not semicolon, it's a colon. And when the user goes for choice 1, the output will be printed as Friday. If he goes for 2, Saturday, 3, Sunday, 4, Monday, 5, Tuesday, 6, Wednesday, 7, Thursday, and with the break, the control will directly come out. If the user goes for some number other than 1 to 7, then the statements following default. See, there is no need to have a break in a default. No need of putting a break in a default, under default. So if the user presses some number other than 1 to 7, then the output will be printed as what? Enter a number between 1 to 8. Let's run and see the output. See here, you are entering a number, you are the user, you are entering a number 9. So the compiler is asking you to enter some number between 1 to 8. If you go for